Welcome. In this video, you will be learning how to solve other type of equations. That means the equations that are not radicals or cube roots, but a combination of both. So the goal in this chapter is to solve equations using reciprocal exponents, solve equations involving rational exponents, and factoring out the greatest common factor. So let's start with the first one, and let me show you the most easiest way to do. So here I have 2/3. This 2/3, where is it? This 2/3 is an exponent, or it's a radical. The other way of writing this is cube root of x squared. So I can say cube root of x squared, or I can say x to the power 2/3. So the bottom one is the root and the top one is the power. Okay, always keep that in mind. So this is x squared, which is the power, and this is the root, cube root. So this is x squared to the cube root. All right, now how do I solve this? This could be so confusing. Remember, the goal here is to get rid of the radical. So I'm going to go ahead, rewrite this. X 2/3 is equal to 64. The goal here is to take off this radical. And I can just not take it off just like that, right? What do? I will go ahead and raise it to the power. What is the reciprocal of 2/3? 3/2. Remember, it's an equation. When you do it on one side, you have to do it on the other side. And now look what we have. When I raise, so x to the power n to the power m, what do you do with the powers? You multiply the powers. That's exactly what you do. X to the power 2/3 times 3/2. 3 cancel, 2 cancel. What do you end up with? X to the power 1. You made it radical free. So you don't have to do that. 2/3 times 3/2 is 1. So this becomes your x power 1, and this is 64 to the power 3/2. So 64, square root of 64 is 8 cube. So all you have to do is 216. Let me go ahead and show it to you how to plug it into your Desmos. So parentheses 64 to the power, it was 3/2, 512. So your answer is 512. I want you to rewind this and go back and check. A quick recap, what do? You simply, because the power is 2/3, you simply multiply it with the opposite, which is 3/2. When you do it on this side, you do it on the same side. You raise it to the power 3/2. Let's do one more. I hope there is one more. Yeah, but let me go ahead and give you something here. X to the power 2/5 is equal to, I'm just going to say 4. X to the power 2/5 is equal to 4. What do? You simply raise this to the power. What is the reciprocal of 2/5? 5/2. Raise this to the power 5/2. This by default is going to be x. And what do? You go back to your handy dandy Desmos. 4 raised to the power 5/2. And your answer is 32. Again, make sure you check that in your Desmos. Your answer is 32. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the next one. This is easy. What do? I raise everything to the power 3/4, because what's the inverse of 4/3? 3/4. Raise this to the power 3/4. Now I want you to stop the video. Go ahead, plug this into your Desmos. Plug 16 to the power 3/4 and tell me what you got. So this 3 cancel, 4 cancel. This is going to be x plus 7. 16 raised to the power 3/4 will give you 8. because fourth root of 16 is 2, 2 raised to the 3 is 8. And now what do I have? Subtract 7 on both sides, and you end up with x is equal to 1. All right, let's try the next one. What does the denominator of the rational exponent represent? Remember, I just told you about it. What does it represent? The denominator represents the root and the numerator represents the power. Solve equations involving rational exponents by factoring out the greatest common factor. Now what I like to do is I like to bring everything to one side. So this is 2x to the power 1/3 minus x 2 to the power x to the power 2/3 is equal to 0. Now you can go ahead, plug this into your Desmos. Let me go ahead and show you. 2x to the power 1/3 minus x to the power 2/3. And if I look closely, what do I have? This is my function, and my x-intercepts are 0, 0, and 8. So that is the solution for this equation. Again, your x-intercepts are your solutions. Now you might ask me, how do I do this manually? This is how. You will factor the greatest common factor here. The greatest common factor is always your lowest power. So I'm going to go ahead, x to the power 1/3. When I take x to the power 1/3, I'm only left with 2 minus. Now you're going to tell me, what should you add to 1/3 to give you 2/3? Very simple, 1/3. Because when you multiply the bases, let me use a different color here. When you multiply the bases, what do you do with the powers? You add the powers. So here, x to the power 1/3 times x to the power 1/3 is x to the power 2/3. Again, if this is too much for you, this is a red flag. You have to practice your powers. You have to practice your factoring. You have to practice your basic algebra. Again, you will not be in this class if you have not taken Algebra 1. So please, please, please make sure you refresh those. Let's see. Let me go back here. So we are here, and I forgot to put equal to 0. Right? Once that's done, I use property of zeros. And what do? X to the power 1/3 is equal to 0. And 2 minus x to the power 1/3 is equal to 0. From here, from the left hand side, I get x is equal to 0. 2 is equal to x to the power 1/3. And what do here? X to the power 1/3. How do I solve this? Raise it to the power. What's the inverse of 1/3? I raise it to the power 3/1. When I raise it on this side, what do? I raise it on the other side. 3/1 is 3. So this becomes x. And what is 2 cubed? 8. And isn't that what you got from your Desmos? So again, having your Desmos is very handy, but sometimes you might not get the exact numbers. So it's always good to go ahead and know how to solve this. Okay, quick recap. You bring everything to one side, factor out, use property of zeros. There you go. Same procedure. What do? I will write this down. 6x to the power 5/2 minus x to the power 3/2 equal to 0. Step 1, let's go ahead and plug this into Desmos. What's Desmos? I don't know. 6x to the power, what was that? 5/2 minus, I forgot, x to the power 3/2. Let me turn this off. Let me close all of these. We don't need these. And I'm looking closer to see if I have any x-intercepts. I have 0.1667. That means it is 1/6 is what? 16667. I think it's, no, 166. I don't know. I have to see. So I have two x-intercepts. And you know, when you have roots like this, then you don't have a choice other than to work it out. So let's do it. What do? I bring everything to one side and I factor out the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor is always going to be your lowest power. And now I bring this, when I take x to the power 3 to x to the power 3 over 2. Now I have 6. Now the question is, what do you add to 3 over 2 to give you 5 over 2? Very simple. X to the power 2 over 2 minus 1. Because I already have x to the power 3 over 2 here. But wait a minute. What is 2 over 2? 2 over 2 is 1. So x to the power 3 over 2, 6x minus 1. Do you see the 0.16666 here? Because I do. I'm going to use property of zeros. 3 over 2 equal to 0. 6x minus 1 equal to 0. What does that mean? 6x is equal to 1, x is equal to 1 over 6, which is 0.166667. And that's exactly what you got from your Desmos as well. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at the last problem for this section. What do I do here? Again, I bring out something that's common. So from 2 and 8, what is common? Of course, the 2. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go ahead and plug it into our Desmos first. What is it? It is 2x to the power 7 over 4, minus 18x to the power 5 over 4. X to the power 5 over 4. Yeah, 18x to the power 5 over 4. 2x to the power 7 over 4 minus 18x to the power 5 over 4. I'm looking closely here and I'm trying to see if there is any x-intercept. Looks like, oh, there you go. Be very careful, because who would know I have to scroll all the way down to 81. So I do have two solutions, which is 0 and 81. Now let's go ahead and check that out. So from 2, again, I have to factor from 2 and 18. I factor the 2. From x, 7 and 4, where is it? From 7 and 4 and 5 and 4, I factor x to the power 5 over 4. Now from 2 and 2, 2 is out. So I'm left with 5, 4. What do I multiply 5, 4 to give me 7, 4? 2 over 4. Because 5 plus 2 is 7. Let me show you my highlighter. 5 plus 2 is 7. And common denominator 4 and 4 is 4. That brings me back to 7 over 4. Minus 2 times what gives me 18? 9. I do have 5 over 4. That's equal to 0. So this, using properties of zeros, 2x 5 over 4 is 0. I don't have to do much. I know this is going to end up with a 0. Now what about the next one? X to the power 2 over 4. What is 2 over 4? 1 over 2 minus 9 is equal to 0. X to the power 1 over 2 is 9. Remember, this is a square root, or you simply raise it to the power 2. Opposite of 1 over 2 is 2 over 1. Raise this to the power, and what do I have? X is equal to 81. There you have it.